till I reach the top somehow.
Oh yes, my Straight Talk family, it is time for me to say good night to you, St. Kitts and Nevis. Good night to the entire Caribbean region. For those of you all over the Caribbean, as way north as Jamaica, way south as Trinidad and Tobago, we come all the way down to Barbados and Vincent and the Grenadines, St. Lucia, Grenada. How could I forget Antigua and Barbuda? How about my good people in Nevis? Next door in St. Eustatia, Sable, Anguilla, St. Martin, the USVI and the BVI. We got you all covered. I know you are in the house. And matter of fact, I should say all over the world, because many of you are on the World Wide Web. There are those in the diaspora in Asia, in Africa, in Europe, and a whole lot of you all over North America in particular. We say to them, happy Thanksgiving, wherever you are. And we can say good night, we can say good morning, and we will say good afternoon, because one of such greetings will be applicable to the region in which you find yourselves. And Straight Talk is a public service program. For those of you who may have just joined me for the first time, Straight Talk is a public service program that facilitates and promotes free expression on all issues of national interest, be they legal, be they environmental, be they technological, social, economic, and or political issues. On Straight Talk, we do have a forum to express yourselves freely. Let's in the process continue to keep St. Kitts and Nevis as one of the freest countries in the entire world. On this program, we try to raise the level of national consciousness. We try to raise the level of national discourse by alerting our people to their rights, to their responsibilities, and certainly to their obligations. My name is Ian Patches Liburd, and I give Almighty God thanks for blessing me with yet another opportunity to join you in conversation, my Straight Talk family. And I say a special good night to those on the Win FM platform. We also are joined nightly by our Win FM 98.9 on your FM dial. And my short dissertation tonight, my Straight Talk family, is entitled PMJ is not the second living national hero. But before starting this conversation, I always had a professor, I had a professor rather, who always said, get up to date. And just moments ago, just over and half an hour ago, we heard a very interesting announcement over there in Nevis, or that came from Nevis. And it went something like this, my Street Talk family.
I have today advised His Prime Minister that the Nevis Island Assembly should be dissolved as of Friday, the 25th day of November, 2022. Nomination day for the election of representatives to the Nevis Island Assembly shall be Monday, December 5th, 2022. Election day on the island of Nevis shall be Monday, December 12th, 2022. I have today advised His Excellency the Governor General, after consultation with the Honourable Prime Minister, that the Nevis Island Assembly should be dissolved as of Friday, the 25th day of November, 2022. Nomination day for the election of representatives to the Nevis Island Assembly shall be Monday, December 5th, 2022. Election day on the island of Nevis shall be Monday, December 12th, 2022.
Yes, my Straight Dog family, that's what's happening in Nevis. And strange but true, I was going to predict tonight that election day would be the 12th of December. And in fact, we must have been communicating. So the Premier went ahead of me and did, in fact, announce elections in Nevis for 2022. Remember, the last election held in Nevis was way back in December 2017. But my Straight Dog family, I cannot vote in Nevis, and I'm sure many of you cannot as well. Although I am a Nevisian born in St. Kitts. Yes, I'm a Nevis man born in St. Kitts, but I cannot vote. But if I had the opportunity to vote, I would reflect on what my departed cousin Vance Amy told me about Mark Brantley, and I would have exercised my franchise accordingly. But that's for another time, my Straight Dog family. Tonight, we, as usual, will look at our observations in review. And it's a time when we reflect, and when we ask questions. We look at what was accomplished, we look at how it has helped others, and of course, what has changed and what can be expected, and most importantly, we examine what we have learned as a people. And my first observation, my Straight Dog family, it relates to what I call a song and dance that was made by Prime Minister Drew about the release of the IMF report. And not just the IMF report, the release of the 2018 IMF report. And IMF, in case some of you are wondering, is the International Monetary Fund. And Prime Minister Drew, as I said, made a song and dance about releasing a report from 2018.
The fact, while I'm on the economy, I want to the IMF released the 2018 Article 4 report. So I want the country to know that it is now available. That was a report that was hidden by the former administration, and I said that once I get there, I will seek to have it published so that our people can see it. So that is just a side note. And SKNS should be putting out a press release on it so that you would have a chance to see it, evaluate it, and see what it was about. This is all about our thrust when it comes to openness, transparency, and good governance. We'll also touch on a couple other issues that were hidden, like the hush puppy issue, the stem cell issue, and so forth, and the herpes issue. These were issues that affected our country, and the reports never came. But I want to update the country that the 2018 IMF Article 4 report has been published as of the 21st day of November 2022. And under our watch, in this administration, we will not allow something like that to happen again. We will not hide from the people. So what is happening here
My
is that we
family,
expect...
when you heard that, I'm sure you said like me. Prime Minister Joe released the 2018 IMF report. And I hear every one of you say, so what? So what? Now, under Article 4 of the IMF Articles of Agreement between St. Kitts and Nevis and the IMF bilateral discussions are held with members, all members of the IMF on an annual basis. How it works, a staff team, I think it is called, visit the countries and collects economic and financial information and discusses the country's economic development and policies with officials, most importantly from the Ministry of Finances, from the Ministry of Public Infrastructure, the Ministry of Tourism, and others. Now, a report is then prepared by the staff team, which forms the basis for discussion by the executive board of the IMF. At the conclusion of this discussion, the managing director summarizes the views of the executive directors, yes, the executive directors of the IMF, and then makes recommendations which are communicated to the authorities. Now, every sovereign country can agree or disagree with the conclusion and recommendations of the IMF Executive Board, also with its release. That's your sovereign right. So Drew publishes the 2018 report, I think it was on the 21st, he said. But how does that impact the high cost of living in the country? A 2021 Article 4 assessment was done. And the report was published, I think, in October last year. So I'm asking, was there an assessment done in 2022? And if so, Prime Minister, then put aside your childish political behavior, get up to date, and publish the 2022 IMF report. That may help to get the country out of the red, as you insinuated. But my Straight Talk family, Nevis goes into election, and Nevisians will have to decide. Nevisians will have to decide on many things that the Premier did not allude to tonight. He has skirted or evaded the expansion of the Vance Amy Airport. Isn't that important? And we seem to have been getting mixed information, but I have confirmed that it is really the Russian oligarchs wielding their political influence, perhaps money too, we don't know, over Mark Brantley, because he has suddenly found a lot of money in recent times to promote his political expediency. But they have wielded political influence over Mark Brantley to expand the airport, and not his multi-billionaire friend who wants as well to land his private jet in Nevis. Meanwhile, we can confirm that the garage for the new fire tender is still not complete. These are some of the issues that Nevisians will have to consider when going to the polls on the 5th. Because this exposes the expensive piece of equipment to sea blast, which would no doubt affect its critical electronic systems. That's the critical electronic systems of the new fire tender. But we understand that Brantley instructed not to do any further work on the garage, as it may soon have to be demolished. Why? Examine again the visions. The Nisbet plantation is still closed, and Straight Talk is investigating the reasons for this and whether it is also related to the NIA refusal to grant permission to that development, that institution, that hotel, to expand. The NIA has refused to grant permission to the expansion of this hotel, the Nisbet Plantation, because we understand of the proposed airport development. Meantime, the Russians are exerting their influence. Homeowners are bluntly refusing to relocate, even after threats from, as one owner put it, the bully Alexis Pepperseed Jeffords, who we are told is not answering his telephone calls, even though he left numbers. Remember, all the Russian oligarchs are demanding of Brantley is 1,500 feet of runway space so they can land their private jets on Nevis. That's what they asked from him.
No, Nevis has a substantial private jets. They would like to fly directly into Nevis, get in their vehicle and go home. Instead of that, they're forced to fly into St. Kitts because of the inadequacy of the runway in particular.
But they have no money. The NIA has no money. So it is prepared to lease the airport so the Russians can develop a fixed base operation, LEPIO. The NASPA, that's the Nevis Air and Supports Authority officials, are tight-lipped. But we are keeping our friends in the USA, Canada, and the UK posted. Again, these are the local Monica Lewinsky story, as some people call it, is still making the rounds in Nevis, in St. Kitts, and beyond. Many are asking if Brantley was part of the CCM campaign team that traveled to St. Martin just recently. Talk on the streets of Bassity and Charlestown suggests that an affair within the CCM hierarchy has gone beyond politics and has already encroached upon home affairs. This declaration, remember this declaration by this mother called Denver.
Is one word I got for. That is your best shot. Billions upon billions go with married men. Married men are not human. Married women are not human. So if you're unhappy and you are in a relationship and you're married, what are you going to do? You find a next man or find a next woman? So your sin, her sin is greater than your sin. All sin and come short of the glory of God. You know, no? She won't be the first and she won't be the last. But the good look about it, the same married man, no drag her. What you do? Up. She climbed the ladder. Look at the negative and see what comes out of it if it is not positive. Senator, Deputy Speaker of the House, Mark Special Advisor, are your mama over the $9,000 where she get?
And you heard that. Senator, Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, Mark's Special Advisor, gets $9,000, and we can add no candidate in the elections. But many have scoffed at the story. But the affair could have repercussions, especially if it rises to the level of abuse, as the Premier himself has said that such behavior should be condemned. So let us condemn it.
I recognize the honorable member for.
It occurred to me that it was appropriate that I say a few words in support of this particular bill, shortly entitled Domestic Violence Amendment Bill 2022. Madam Deputy Speaker, we must not only pay lip service, but we, Madam Deputy Speaker, must walk the walk. We must be prepared to condemn it wherever it happens. And that our people, particularly our menfolk, must understand that it is behavior that is unacceptable. And perhaps it's a good thing, that we're having this debate and a woman is in the chair. Wherever it occurs, it doesn't always have to be physical, as we're hearing here, it can be financial. All of it is abuse. And I feel that abuse in all its forms and wherever it raises its head should be condemned.
Yes. There has been some feedback as well. If you listen to the Premier tonight, as he related to the film industry. And the film industry that was invited to Nevis, a matter of fact, it was rejected by Barbados and somehow found itself in Nevis. And there has been no feedback from Prime Minister Drew regarding monies being apparently paid from the St. Kitts Treasury to MSR Media Limited. It is well known that money is being paid by the Premier from Nevis, and the Premier made that statement publicly. This is what the Premier said about the film industry in Nevis.
LK Hewlett, Department of Information. Has a date been set for the budget address and likewise the budget debate?
Forgive me, my straight dog family. I did in fact put my fingers on that wrong cue, that wrong soundbite. But this is in fact what the Premier confessed in Nevis.
Mark Brantley, who is the Premier of Nevis, wanted to diversify the economy.
Yes, there is a financial arrangement with MSR. I believe the number is $150,000.
We are prepared to do 35 films over the next 5 years. Along with our development, we are finalizing the purchase of a hotel in St. Kitts so that we can have a base to produce and train people in St. Kitts.
Yes, and and as we have spoken before, that you will definitely have our support.
Yes, my straight dog family. And many are baffled as to how can an investor come to our federation dead broke, according to Company House in the United Kingdom, and in under 2 short years he's purchasing a hotel on St. Kitts. So in the visions, when they go to the polls, remember, your country is broke, your island is broke, but the Premier finds $400,000 a month to pay to that film company. And you recognize as well, as you go to the polls, my straight dog family, Brantley and Drew have suddenly established a body-body relationship. We saw them. They went bike riding together in Taiwan. But Drew is using Mark to keep Douglas quiet. Drew is using Mark, like I said, to keep Denzel Douglas quiet. But Drew will find out that that may not be a wonderful strategy. But in time, he will probably learn.
Heavily on CBI,
and indicating
and
that bonus payment, double salary as we like to call it colloquially, to public servants for this year. And he has authorized the payment of that on November 22nd. I would wish to publicly extend thanks to the federal government because through our dialogue and discussions, in fact, I spoke to the Honorable Prime Minister just this morning, we have established that these benefits, this windfall, so to speak, of a double salary, that it will be extended to the people of Nevis as well. And so I would want to extend thanks because this is part of the ongoing conversation about a fair share of the country's resources being available to those who are in Nevis as well. We know that 1/3 of the population resides here, and the Honorable Prime Minister has indicated with great alacrity, no need for persuasion, that it was the intention that this applies across the board. And so public servants in Nevis can look forward to their double salary on the 22nd of November. Those who are receiving an honorarium can look forward to the receipt of their honorarium on or before the 30th of November. And in light of the 3 VAT days that have been announced federally and the various concessions put in place for Christmas, we are hopeful that this injection of additional monies into the local economy will lead to more spending, will lead to more economic activity. And whilst we are hopeful of that, those who know me know that it would be remiss of me if I didn't say also to our people, try to save a little something out of it as well. Don't spend all. Put a little something aside. Treat
my Street Dog family, these backroom negotiations with the Premier and Prime Minister Joe are not good for our democracy. Joe promised to introduce a legislative framework. He spoke about it when he came in as it relates to the allocation of monies to Nevis. In fact, there is already a legislative framework because the Constitution speaks to that. But Joe must understand, to be forewarned is to be forearmed. And Jews should know and should ask what Mark did to Vance Emery. May he rest in peace. He should also ask about what Mark did to Timothy Harris. And belatedly, what Mark did to Sean Richards. Joe got 46% of the popular vote of his comrades at the last convention. And that has not changed overnight. That is not expected to change overnight. But Douglas continues to cock his foot and is sipping his coffee and waiting on the right time to deal with Dr. Joe. Mark also tried to hide behind Prime Minister Joe as the NIA election he knew was imminent, and he announced it tonight. But had he gone with his budget, it would have exposed the poor state of the Nevis Treasury, despite all of the pork barrel spending that is presently going on. He deferred tabling his budget, and he avoided all the distractions, and he has gone now to elections. Remember, his last budget had a $98 million deficit. Yes, his last budget had a $98 million deficit. And we always provide the evidence.
The expenditure budget for the upcoming fiscal year, we are prepared to project that we shall collect the amount of $131.4 million in recurrent revenue. We expect our recurrent revenue to be augmented by the remittance of at least $45 million from the federal government in respect of a share of revenue under the CBI program. The expenditure budget for the upcoming fiscal year is set at $229 million. We are prepared to project that we shall collect the amount of $131.4 million in recurrent revenue. We expect our recurrent revenue to be augmented by the remittance of at least $45 million from the federal government in respect of a share of revenue under the CBI program.
You do the maths, my family. And mathematics is always one of my strongest weak points. And he projected expenditure of $229 million, but only collecting $131 million. So he's $98 million in the red. And he looks for the handout from St. Kitts, or rather, let me be correct with that. He looks for the budgetary support from St. Kitts of $45 million. That leaves him $53 million in the red. So where is he getting all this money to spend to build roads and to all these capital expenditure, to travel all over to campaign? So imagine, come next year, you put that man back into power. Oh, Nevis will be over the cliff. And I hope that Nevis is ready for the first woman premier. I hope and pray. Nevis has or had 2 deputy governor generals who are women, or 2 women deputy governor generals. One is there now, my namesake, Liburd. Margie Morton was there, Her Excellency, I should say. But the federal budget day in St. Kitts is nigh in the next couple of weeks. And we in St. Kitts as well wait with a bated breath to see what's in that budget.
Has the date been?
The date, and it would be most likely from the second week in December. And we'll give that exact date of when we will determine when we'll start the budget debate.
The second week in December will be our budget day. And again, my people, election day in Nevis is Monday the 12th. And Mark was avoiding and has avoided the distraction of the church, as he started in a collision course with the church. But back to St. Kitts. Prime Minister Joe is still behaving like the CBI is his personal business, just like Douglas, and is keeping the processing of our passports as a state secret. And as long as I have life and I'm here, I will remind Prime Minister Joe that he has to release that information.
Good afternoon, LaShawn Dixon. Prime Minister, you just mentioned that you're planning a trip to the Middle East to promote the CBI. Last time we had a count of how much CBI applications had been processed was in 2018. The question is, how many passports have been processed up until this date? And how many citizenship applications have you signed off on since in the first 100 days since taking office? And second question is, what is the general breakdown of nationalities who are willing to get citizenship, economic citizenship from St. Kitts and Nevis? And right. Is there a plan to put a cap on any nationality?
Is there a plan to
put a cap on economic citizenship?
Right, so the questions you have asked are very good questions, and we'll have to get back to you on the numbers because they are very, very specific, and I don't want to not give you. All right, so we can always work on disclosing. We'll do that. Let me say on a number of things that you asked with respect to the numbers. Those are critical questions to ask, and we'll get back to you with respect to those numbers, and you can contact us as well to be specific. All right?
Critical questions need critical answers. And Drew has signed, we are told, approximately 2,000 applications since taking office in August. Our citizens are out there, we are told, have accumulated to some 30,000. We need to know, Prime Minister Drew. Finally, the second cruise spear continues to be in high demand, and today accommodated the world's biggest ship, the Wonder of the Seas. And my Straight Talk family, if you listen to the many captains, that bring these multi-million-dollar or rather billion-dollar ships alongside the second cruise spear, you must understand that it is a much lauded rendering of a state-of-the-art facility. Here's one captain who commented like this.
It is very nice. The new pier is very wide, and it is much better actually than the previous one, and it's a very nice construction. And for us, from the marine side of view, you have enough fenders, enough bollards, nice and safe, with much better angle against the wind also. So congratulations, this is amazing. Very nice. The new pier is very wide, and it is much better actually than the previous one, and it's a very nice construction. And for us, from the marine side of view, you have enough fenders, enough bollards, nice and safe, with much better angle against the wind also. So congratulations, this is amazing.
Now, my Straight Talk family, the construction costs to build that ship that came alongside today, the Wonder of the Seas, is 1.2 billion euros, or US 1.35 billion. That's almost 5 billion if my maths are correct, or 4 billion rather in EC money. So that ship, which was built at the Chantiers de l'Antique shipyard at Saint-Nazaire in France, cost, as I said, almost $4 billion. It is an extra large ship, or large size ship, spanning 1,188 feet in length and 2,000 feet wide. That is roughly the length of 3 or 4 football fields. It's as wide as 4 or 5 tractor trailers, or perhaps more, and the same height of a 16-story building. Imagine what think about it, and you'll understand what came alongside that new cruise spear today. And Kititians must therefore be proud to have what I call this perennial fruit in our country. That pear, it is ripe and it is sweet. You remember how Douglas and Congress and those guys went on in the parliament, the pear spoil? The pear ripe and it's sweet. When I saw that ship going along this morning, I thought about Lindsey Grant. I did. And I empathized with him that he was not there to welcome and hand the plaque to the captain of the Wonder of the Seas. But Lindsey can blame no one but himself. That's his fault. I empathized because I remembered when we were both on this promotional tour, which included the owners of the ship, the Royal Caribbean Cruise Limited, along with their port agent, Clayton Perkins, and Steve Heights of Scenic Railway. And this booking of the berth was done while that ship was under construction at the time. It was confirmed 4 years ago. So when this new minister and others saying about inaugural ship, that ship was confirmed for this berth 4 years ago. I confirmed at that meeting, yes, that new cruise pier would be finished. I put my neck on a block because these principals did not believe us at first that this pier was going to be completed. Because, Douglas tried this pier. For 20 years, he promised a pier, could not deliver one. And when I looked at his Facebook today and lauding this ship alongside, he must laud the Team Unity government. Don't give it to me. Give it to the Team Unity government that built that pier in 3 years when you couldn't build it in 20 years. Don't mind what Dwyer Astafan says. He was the worst minister of tourism we ever had in St. Kitts and Nevis. His tongue, as I said before, is a weapon of mass deception. He will talk until he's tired about corruption. But the country will never go tired of wanting to know, where has the $54 million gone, as there is no golf course at La Valley Greens. We have not addressed the undue influence Dwyer wielded in the Gwendolyn Siheli matter, according to Supreme Court Justice Trevor Ward. For now, we are asking him, Dwyer, just account to the country for your stewardship as a minister of the Frigate Bay Development Corporation. We are not going to accept this as an answer.
Apparently, he wants me to explain to the nation why I, as a minister, signed an agreement. Well, it seems as though he wants me to explain why I signed. I'm told that he said he's not accusing anybody of bubble, but that he was just asking, where's the money? That's what I'm told, right? And I don't remember. But let me say what I have to say. I'm not saying it didn't happen.
We want a full account from you, Dwyer, of that $54 million as for the contract you signed personally. We have also asked Dwyer about his lawyer brother, who went on these promotional tours with him to visit the cruise lines. I was there. Was his lawyer brother on a joyride? Or was he placed by you, Dwyer, in the slips? You love cricket. I understand. You were the president of the Cricket Association one time. Answer us. Was your brother placed in the slips to catch any business that derive from these discussions at the meetings? Dwyer must release the content of his incentive agreement with his client Bazarian so the country can understand what was his interest. Let the country know how many millions you would have made. Were you working for 1%? If you work for 1%, then you would receive some 6.8 million. What percentage you worked for? 10%? Wow. The indicative term sheet you submitted on your client's behalf, Dwyer, revealed that your client would have collected over $680 million over 30 years on a $110 million pier that's accommodating the world's largest ship today. Dwyer, your interest did not materialize. So you started a vendetta against Timothy Harris, Team Unity, and your humble servant, which you still continue. But now, Dwyer, you are patronizing Prime Minister Drew in the advance of your client's interests in the land at the southeastern peninsula. You must also release the content of your incentive agreement in this development, in this deal, so the country can understand your interests? Are you asking Prime Minister Drew to forgive $20 million of the $40 million owed to the National Bank? And once you do not get your wishes, you will soon start to curse Dr. Drew and the Labour administration. But as I said before, Dwyer is dangerous. His tongue is like a weapon of mass deception. There is more to come, but those, my Straight Talk family, are my observations in review for tonight. Because I want to get straight to my short dissertation that I have entitled Prime Minister Drew is not the second living national hero. And someone sent me an invitation for the Prime Minister's birthday celebration scheduled for Saturday. The individual called me to confirm my attendance, and I thought it was a joke. But she insisted that she will come to get me. Then I said to her, "But you don't talk to me, so how you expect me to go to his party?" She continued by insisting that, quote, "You are coming with me." Anyhow, I switched the topic and asked, why is the Prime Minister holding his party at such hallowed ground? She said that's not true, as permission was sought from the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force to host 300 people at the Connery Playfield. Then I responded to it, but that's not an invitation. So how it switched to the National Heroes Park? Now, this is an old Labour stalwart and friend of mine who said to me, "Boy, Patches, Drew is biologically confused, so he cannot help." I said, "What do you mean?" She retorted, "Will it tell you who played the tape the other night?" "What tape?" I asked. And it was when she said the tape from Antigua, I realized she was talking about this tape, my Straight Talk family.
Observer AM, I'm Jackie Quinn, and it's the region. We'll just go through a number of these WhatsApp. Good morning, Jackie. Can you ask PM Drew if he has an Antiguan family? Somebody else sent a message to us. I'm going to read that. The Prime Minister of St. Kitts' father is from Potter's Village. His father's name is Winston Drew, and his sister's name is Lois Drew. So that answers that question. Someone else is saying the St. Kitts Prime Minister, Dr. Terence Drew, is police officer Timothy Drew's brother. So somebody confirming that the Prime Minister of St. Kitts has a lot of roots, a lot of family right here in Antigua and Barbuda.
That is why my friend said he's biologically confused. The man got a lot of power now, she continued. You ain't see the man pay double salary on his birthday and talk about we must buy him drinks? I said yes. And I went and I listened back, and he did.
Pleased to announce that after careful deliberation, an extra payment of 1 month's salary, or what is termed double salary, will be paid on Tuesday, November 22nd, 2022. It just so happened that it is my birthday. So that means I can ask for a lot of drinks.
My people, he's also politically confused. And some people even started saying he's the best prime minister, even though he has just barely jumped over the hurdle of 100 years. Would you believe that? They are saying he is the best prime minister? Yes, they did.
world famous Dr. Joe. The best PM. Give thanks, PM. Watch a man. The best PM. The bestest. The people's PM. The best PM. All right. That was the best PM there, boy. Trust me.
Yes, the best PM to some people. Prime Minister Joe, in September gone, said that the National Heroes Park was inappropriate for the annual ceremony and ruled that it should be held in St. Paul's. But he must remember, the rainstorm came down. The National Heroes Park is for solemn reflection, Prime Minister, not for a fete. It is not for your birthday party, but for reflection on the struggles of our forefathers who provide a constant guiding light to what this country's citizens should aspire to be. What you are doing, PM, is wrong, and for full disclosure, you must guarantee the Federation that not one single penny will be paid by the state or will come from the treasury to pay for your party. You are not our king, Dr. Joe. For now, you are our Prime Minister. And if what I am hearing and seeing is correct, then this birthday party must be relocated to the Connery Playfield, as Prime Minister Joe is not the second living national hero. That's my story tonight, and I am not going to change it. But I'll open the lines right now, my Straight Talk family. I tarried a bit long. I got away. But I'll open the lines and entertain your calls and your emails. Remember, we have up until 10 o'clock to place your calls and to make your comments on the issues that I've raised. I've raised many issues. The numbers are 869-663-6672. If you're calling locally, just dial 663-6672. If you're calling from overseas, then the number I should say is 646-829-6672. I always like to implore you that when I open the lines, I am going to do so in a few seconds, I anticipate that you will respect others. And of course, to achieve that, you must first respect yourselves. Let us try to be fair to all concerned, and let us try to build goodwill and better friendships. And in saying and doing the things, let us strive to keep St. Kitts, or make St. Kitts, a kinder, gentler nation. It's 9:05. Caller, you live. Hello, caller.
How are you?
I'm sorry, caller. I'm awfully sorry. I had you on the mute. We didn't hear it first. Good night. I'm sorry about that. Can you repeat?
Good night.
Good
and
night,
how
my
are
dear.
you?
I am peaceful. Yourself?
I'm blessed. Well, Mr. Patrice, don't bother with them who's saying that Joe is the best prime minister. They're laughing at you. You hear they laughing? Tick, 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 tick. They're laughing at him, Patrice. They're laughing.
Let's laugh too. Let's
Don't
laugh.
bother with them. Be laughing too.
Yes, let's laugh
Don't
too.
bother with them. The best prime minister ever touched down in St. Kitts Nevis was Timothy Harris. Okay? You have a good night. See you when I see you.
See you when I see you, my dear. Thanks for calling. And how's the weather?
Wonderful.
Are you enjoying it?
Nice.
Happy Thanksgiving as well. You got your turkey and your ham?
About everything.
Everything. Well, enjoy it, my dear.
Yes.
Thanks for calling.
You take good care.
Thanks a lot. Bye. Bye-bye. My Straight Dog family, it's 4 before 9. We go back to the lines. Caller, you're live.
Hello. Good evening, Dr. P. and Patrick Liburd.
Good evening. Who is this now? Gwilja or Haynes?
This is Mr. Radical Culture.
Culture
Yeah.
Haynes Greenwich from Montserrat.
Montserrat is good, man. Everybody up there listening to the radio right now. Well, at first, I would like to ask you, please do not wait until it's too late to play what the best Premier Nevis ever had. May his soul rest in peace. Mr. Vance Emory told you, do not wait until it's too late or too close to election. Let the people of Nevis know exactly who was bad and who worthless and who good. So don't hold back now. The play it as often as possible.
I have to seek clearance first from the madam.
Okay. All right, okay.
You know? I've learned many things from him.
All right. Now let me go here down here now in Sinkage. I want to tell the people that when they hear Dr. Joe talking, they must say, oh, that's Donald Trump the third. Because the real Donald Trump in America, the second Donald Trump is down here, and he Joe is the third. That man there, the amount of lie that man they don't tell, and it's telling, is more than what Donald Trump has said, the white one and the black one down here. In the first place, here we come on and say that the country is red. But he still find money to carry 15 of them to New York to a party, and the country is red. Then he come back and he went to China, Taiwan, and the country is red with 9 of them. Well, he don't know that all them kind of money what he's spending to joyride and carrying them to spend time in hotel. Ministers who got girlfriend and boyfriend and men and everybody going on trip with the federal with our money. He do not know that the factory up industrial site closed down and hundreds of people out of work. And all that money that he's wasting from the treasury could find jobs to pay those people, put them in a job with that money. Right now, they're out, a lot of them ain't working. And a lot of them voted for he, but he don't care to starve as long as he gets to do what he wants with the money that he made there. And he's saying that country ready. Country is ready, but you find money to send over to Nevis to pay Nevis people double salary and honorarium, and you're saying country red. Dr. Joe is nothing but what you call small boy, pitching marble alley, and computer start and the talking. When he talk, he doesn't sound like no statesman, no leader, no nothing. Anyway, I got another thing to say, but let me get off because I'm going to come back and make me second trip and done with it quick, because I want to hear a lot of people tonight here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for taking my calls along.
Thank you for your intervention as well. We go straight back to the lines and thank this caller for holding. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Hot up in the name of our great African ancestors, especially Queen Nzinga and King Garvey, and in the spirit of the great Pan-Africanist, the great Tim Hector of Antigua and Barbuda will have been 80 years today. Welcome, my beloved brother. What's up? Long time. How is everything, beloved?
My brother, you left me speechless for a couple of seconds. You know, I haven't heard his voice for a long time. I asked if you were okay. They told me yes you were, but it's so good to hear you.
Beloved. Yes, man, like I told you, beloved. Anywhere you go, beloved, I will be coming, beloved. And when I make a commitment to anyone, brother, I will maintain that. If you don't betray the trust of African people, So is everything, beloved?
Peaceful, my brother. Let me say ditto. If I said ditto, it's the same with me, you know. Don't question my loyalty. I'm peaceful. What about yourself and your family?
I'm good, man. I'm good, man. The whole clan is good, beloved. But I wasn't calling because I was on another mission, beloved. You know, brother Nabu, don't retreat.
Not surrender.
And I will never, ever surrender,
I know that very
beloved. Never, beloved. And, beloved, I was on a mission. I'm still on a mission to ensure that we as Pan-Africanists get the next Pan-African administration. And this administration going to be coming out of Antigua, Barbuda, led by my beloved brother Howard, lovely beloved. And brother Alistair, brother Franz, and the whole team, UPP team, beloved brother. We don't have a Pan-African administration in Barbados by the great Mia Matley, beloved. And let me say this, beloved. Let me hear up Dr. Harris. Dr. Harris, the best prime minister we ever had so far, beloved. The boy from up he got thing is a joke, but he ain't an entity. I ain't got time to waste it here in the evil empire. But they will get the blows from me in due time, beloved. So let me again just hear up Dr. Harris and the team that won in the last election. And let me single out Sister Jackie Bryan, my sister. Stay the course. Stay the course. Election gonna be held in less than 5 years. I could guarantee you that. Because where they are going right now, beloved, gonna be self-destruction. But you know, like I said, they're non-entities, man. Them they're just little boys and little girls thing. You know, so just keep it coming, beloved sisters and brothers. And to all the sisters and brothers who've been asking about me, brother Nabu is fine, fine, fine. And let me hear up brother culture and my beloved brother politics and sister Jackie, warrior from the east, and all the sisters, Dumpling, Jam Dong, Alice, everyone. And brother Nabu is black. And you're going to be hearing me weekly now. And brother Patches, I like your thing, beloved brother. You know, buckle, now pen for anyone. And I know you love poor African people, beloved. And you're going to stay the course until the very last breath in your body. So am I, beloved. They're going to hear Pan-Africanism until there is the last breath in my body. Well, as long as I'm collective, and I will never retreat and never surrender and never bow, buckle, or bend. So, me beloved, I continue to listen, keep up the great works, and no worry about them, man. And when I hear the ship thing, beloved, I was listening on a radio station in Antigua, Barbuda, Observer to be exact, and they said, man, the ship, I said, brother Patches and the team unity administration did that, especially brother Patches. Brother Patches, you don't make your mark. Very long time. As a cultural icon, beloved brother, and as a minister. So you not got nothing to worry about, beloved.
I'm humbled, my
Let
brother.
them talk. Let them talk, beloved. You have proven yourself, beloved. So you don't have nothing to worry about. But I know someone else want to speak. So I continue to listen, keep up the great works, and let me think, brother.
Thanks a lot, my brother.
Pan-Africanism perish, beloved. You were saying something, beloved?
No, you go ahead. I anticipated you were leaving, so I wanted to be.
Yes, beloved. So, beloved, continue to listen, keep up the great works, and you're going to be hearing from me weekly again, beloved. So, sisters and brothers, I'm fine. Pan-Africanism I perish. One love, my beloved brother.
One love, my brother. That's the Pan-Africanist, my dear brother Nabu, and he is okay. when I look today at those large tourist boats at the newly constructed pier, reads this email, that was orchestrated by you, Patches, and the unfair criticism you received from Dwyer and the Labour Party for your great visionary undertaking of this enterprise, coupled with Mr. Grant's diligent hard work as tourism minister, succeeded in his negotiations for these ships that are now coming. My only regret is that Grant did not heed the sound and prudent advice of Deputy Prime Minister Eugene Hamilton and allowed himself to be misled by his leader Sean to break up team unity. Grant must now regret that he has cleansed the ground for Monkey to run and play on. No wonder the new minister is taking the credit that duly belongs to Grant and falsifying it as her own. But Mr. Grant, you have yourself to blame, reads this email. This other email reads, Mr. Liburd, greeting in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. We have an emperor in the making. Dr. Joe, if he goes ahead and have his birthday bash on that holy ground, where Simmons is waiting to be enshrined, and have no cause for that treacherous person to be enshrined, it will tell us where his heart is. Patches, mark my words, this is a test run. If the doctor gets away with his birthday next year, it will be a bank holiday. England has a king. St. Kitts will have an emperor called Jew. Good night, God bless, and be safe, reads this email. This other email reads, I realize, Patches, that the Lucian refugee in the Monkey Hill area could not discount the facts of the matter, that Harris was very generous to him when he asked him for help. Instead, he launched a personal and an unwarranted attack on you, Patches. But I must let the refugee know in no uncertain terms that Patches did not bang seawater to come here. Are he born with your foulness? I hear he born, beg your pardon, with your foulness about Patches must go and sit down. Why the hell you don't go back where you come from, Mr. Refugee? You don't know your place, reads that email. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you are live. Hello, caller.
Good night, Mr. Patches. Good night. Good night.
How are you? Good night, my dear. How about that?
Fine. You know, the Nevis bell ring and a mark again, a branch of CCM again. Don't care what I try to say, CCM again. And not strong enough to see him again. Tell brother Nabo, now you to Antigua, you know, reach on your family, Nabo. You reach me Antigua, you know, reach on you, know, come home, come home. Come home, it's supper time. Yes, Mr. Patches. I don't know what happens for some people, and about one show me corner who want to go, how the people want to eat. Look me, put me to this house here, Patches. I used to pay social security levy. So that's why I come by this house, and that's why I used to ramp and rage. All in the 2004, and all in them term the 2010, and all in them term to tell them, I need a house. I own a business since 98. A little bar, but I started a business before that, and I'm not lady was going around town doing it. And I put myself out, right? And I decided I want a house. I could have been in the state. Tell them leave me alone. I could have been in the state. You have a dimple lady that come on in and knock down in the belt, you know. Remember, I used to tell you about you must have a special program. I say everybody agree and disagree. She from Kean and I from Atlas, a large project. I born Atlas, real large project to large village. And I don't want no stupidness. The election or wallet will keep here. I say I pay my social security levy. I used to hire people paying them the government fee $3.60 per hour.
Can I ask you?
When they work overtime, I gave them something.
Can I ask you a question?
And I don't want nobody come rock with me fellas. I ain't this house for you know.
Can I ask you Can I ask you a question?
Yes, darling. I'm listening.
I know you're a long time, right? We go back a long time, right?
Yeah.
And you just out yourself because you said the nuts lady, okay? But how do you know that when someone is referring to you? I don't quite understand. Like I've listened to the program, but I don't listen. I hosted the program, but I have never heard anybody referring to you.
Yes, they performed me one night. I told you so. Up in January, about almost got two songs. But me, in question, I'm not a soul, so I'm not a thing to me. At my age, I'm thinking clearly, and nobody around me and telling me not cross the road. Number two, we must do the thing. I used to back the party, yes, and I see something I didn't like, and I just start to put against it. It's my right. So nobody must go forward. I mean, I'm going to call, otherwise you're going to eat it up. Mr. Program, eat it up.
So it's
right? I know, and I came on board on Miss 17. So after I hear about and I put up a little green card, and now I'm going to wait till me get me.
Okay, you raised the Nevis issue. So what do you think gonna happen in Nevis? Let's get on some issue. Yeah.
I went over Nevis. I went over Nevis last month, and to me, I am appreciative of what's happening into Nevis. I enjoy around the country, but to me, Nevis nice. So I see it. I went out to the that. I went out with a friend, and we went somewhere by a family friend, and then we went to the hot bath. We enjoyed ourselves. Then we went down to go to Sunshine Killer. We enjoyed because they were cool. Right, and what I see, when he was in front of Sinkers right now, when I heard Mr. Bradley saying, how much souls of tree, how much they like to bring back the old time days, like plant over coconut trees, plant back these things. We're going to help to this country, the apple tree. And do you know the gentleman in Nevis who is in the horticulture came down here and let's boost up our horticulture? That's why we have a night market. And I don't tell Mr. Samuel there the Friday night. I didn't like that put it back on the Wednesday night. It was very died. I never enjoyed it. I went in there. I never satisfied about it. You need to go back on the Wednesday night. For people, Mr. Patches want to come Friday and Saturday to make the little change. And when you put it on a Friday night, you take away something. Yes, people was there, but not like when Unity had it on a Wednesday night. And they must stop different duck. We all must try to be in love with one another. If I meet you this year, I don't want it somebody else changing it. No. We're not going to get along good like that, you know. We need to live in peace. We want to be in Russia and Ukraine. So we need to get our act together. That's why I went to the first man about all I like. They come in and talk about the house in December. And then the house when I take it, I take it when I get it.
Okay, let's not go back there. All right?
Yeah, I don't like it. Man, take up
hospital. I just thought you said just love one another. Come on. Okay, thanks for your intervention. Let's live in peace. You just said let's live in peace. You're entitled to your view. Right, so okay, all right.
Always big people don't got grandchildren. We must need to be loving the party don't lose, and that's it.
Okay.
Dr. Joe, happy birthday again tonight. Dr. Joe, happy birthday.
Okay, my dear, thanks a lot. That's just as you say, live in peace and love one another. And straight talk, and that's what straight talk is all about. Some people will get offended because I allow you to tarry for a long time, but they can come and tarry as well, you know. I don't like this to and fro with each other. Let's talk the issues, you know, and what's happening now. You saw what happened today. The world's biggest cruise ship, both here in St. Kitts. We as Kittitians must be proud about it, you know. I am humbled about it because I know what it took to get that project off the ground, you know. We had to get the project analyzed by Ernst & Young International Accountants. We did a value for money analysis, and some people made noise about it. But my Straight Talk family, we saw the world's largest or biggest cruise ship alongside today, and all of us must be proud. Caller, you live.
Good evening, Mr. Liburd.
Good evening, my dear.
Boy, they got to talk about you. You did a wonderful job with that pay.
I tried.
They got to talk about you. You're the best. Because of you, all this shit could burp. I'm going to call you the burping man because you did a good job.
I'm humble. Just call me Patches. I'm humble. I went to serve and I tried to serve.
Patches, you did a good job.
Yes, Patches, you can depend on me.
Yeah,
Yes.
Patches, you did a good job.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, kudos to you.
Thank you very much, my dear.
Kudos to you, boy. Kudos to you and Team Unity.
Yes, yes.
We're going to bring back Team Unity. Don't you worry. In less than 5 years, you're going back in Team Unity. Have a good night. Patches. Bye.
Have a good night, my dear. And I thank you for the commendation. It's very strange. I don't say much about me, but when you were talking just now, I reflected on a conversation I had with then Prime Minister Douglas, and Douglas has told me quite a lot of things. I won't repeat them. He can be assured of that. I won't repeat them. But one of the things he said to me, I can divulge, is that when he had hunted me, no matter what you heard him say about me, Douglas had hunted me for the for the civil service and not public service. And those are the two words he used. Man Patches is public service. And those two words caught me. And that's why you see I stuck around for so long. But caller, it's 18 past the 9 o'clock hour. Let's go back to the lines. You are live.
Okay, this is my last do. So that's why you're coming quick, where I could sit back and listen. Bonus, I agree with you. Care back the night market on Wednesday. But you see what happened to them? They want to say that they're doing things different. And everything they do different is a failure. Now let me go to the school. But before I go there, let me give you kudos, Patrick. Let me give you your kudos. Everybody on that ship, they're going to talk about the wonderful job that you did over there with a pier. And I don't know if it's a bottleneck or a football shaped pier. But that's the best pier that ship ever dock up to, and it will be ever dock up to. So kudos to you, Doctor. You are the best minister of walks. None could come to touch you or beat you. And don't be afraid to blow your own bugle, because nobody could move the pay from there. Now let me go here now to the school. I hear man in the middle Joe said that $9 million was wasted up there where the new school was supposed to build. And he haven't seen anything for the $9 million. Well, I want to tell Dr. G, that's a big lie. Please stop it. Because they started out moving up there and whatever else. And if you think that when you're going to go rebuild the school there by the old school, if you think that they're going to cost less than what the new school upon supposed to cost, let he go ahead. Because to demolish that building alone going to cost more than $500,000. And that $500,000 would be extra what you call it there, extra money anyway, extra money. So let he get break down and think he can just put on a new piece of land. We better follow what we left in the pipeline, what Dr. Harris and Team Unity leave in the pipeline. Follow it and don't come and play big like you know better, because you ain't no better. You ain't doing nothing better. And then let me go down to Mr. Goya now, with the double tongue, snake tongue. He need to tell you all what he do with the $54 million down La Valley Golf Course. It ain't 54,000, it's $54 million patches. And he hear what he's saying? He ain't saying it didn't happen, but he can't recall. He don't remember. You don't remember? But only he talk about that the first he don't criticize you and Dr. Harris. And then come talking about transparency and Dr. Joe is the best prime minister. Let he go ahead. Let he go ahead because Dr. Joe will find out who he is. Because as soon as he can get what he want to eat, then he can build the cook and the chef. Anyway, Patrice, you have a good night. Until next week.
Have a good night, my dear brother.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the man culture. It's 21 past the 9 o'clock hour. And if you're joining me for the first time, Straight Talk is heard every Monday and Thursday from 8 in the PM or 8 to 10 in the PM. We're also on WinFM radio simultaneously broadcasting. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you live. Hello, caller.
Good night, Mr. Minister.
How are you, my brother?
I am blessed. And I want to tell each and everyone in this federation, good night. May the Lord bless all of our people listening to this talk show. But it gives me something that I want to speak about. Because when I look back at the Team Unity 100 days in office, it was magnificent. And when you have to look back at this government that's going to have 100 days, you cannot compare. Cannot compare absolutely. And because we don't even have nothing to speak about, because they just keep traveling. And they're not on the island to see what the people are speaking about, so they can correct it. Somebody said they have to go out to meet the people. It's true. But still, they can stay home and do likewise on the BlackBerry and speak to them and get things done. When you have to look back on the 100 days of Team Unity, it was magnificent. There is none party that come in to be a government can class 100 days of Team Unity. And I want our people to stand strong because Team Unity is going to get back into office. Have a good night.
Thank you very much. Have yourself a good night as well. Thanks for your input. As a matter of fact, when you reflected on the 100 days of Team Unity, you would say, wow, that's the first reaction. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Mr. Patrice.
How are you, my brother?
Well, I am home. So if you want me to bring you could have to come down and I could bring the thing for me.
Okay.
You come straight down because you know it's by the leg.
Yeah, you know, I passed, but no, I didn't get there. I went to Mansion. Sorry, I almost got there, but I didn't walk with it yesterday. But I'll try and get you on the weekend. I promise.
Yeah, you just when come down actually. I'm home.
Okay.
I say could me put the car and I can't walk on my foot.
Okay.
Okay. But I call it now to big you up. I tell you, when I heard about the Miladi cruise ship, I said to myself that a man had to eat his flowers while he alive. And as the Bible says, a man should to eat the food of his labor, not eat his sleep. And so I have sauce up in my yard. It's bearing sauce up while me alive. Not because I can't go to pick them. And so that's the situation there. So you know where we want we do now. I'm going to tell you something again. No more weed. You're doing that good. I hear a man over a station say he's going to call in and he's going to suck it to you. And he has said that you say, when he call in, don't you pay him no mind. Because a lot of people do not know why you sow or why you reap.
Yep.
And he can't deny. The word of God cannot be lied. Be not deceived, God is not mocked. Whatsoever man sow it, that shall he also reap. I see it happen more time after time. So, Mr. Package, you be strong. You see, they that live God in Christ, we tell you what the Bible says now. They that live godly in Christ must suffer persecution. While you are doing the things that pleasing to God and doing the things that right in the sight of God, man is going to persecute you.
Okay. My brother.
So, you take care of yourself, you hear me?
Yes, my brother.
And see you.
Have yourself a good night. Thanks for your intervention. As we go straight back to the lines, caller, you're live.
Patches. Patches.
How is the major tonight? Sounds like the major.
Thanking God for life, boy. Thanking God for life. Let me ask you a question, Patches. You know Miss Liburd, ain't it? You know Miss Liburd, your grandmother.
My grandmother, yes. I know what you did to her too.
Huh?
I know what you did to her too as well.
Well, listen to me. Listen to me. You know that was my girl. That was my girl. But I want to ask you a question. Listen to the question, eh? What do you see as the key trait of your parents, Mrs. Liburd?
Humility.
And what I want you to do is circle all those that keep you cropping up in people who attract you. These traits probably trigger deep emotions. So, circle them for me, you know. Circle them for me. I just thought to ask you that question, man, because Miss Liburd was a great woman.
Yes.
You know, all them golden apples, you know. So, circle something for me. Circle and let me hear what you got to say. Let me hear what you got to say.
I'll hold my peace, my brother, except I'll circle humility. You know? Nice to hear, though. Nice to hear. Those were the days, my brother. Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
So everything is well with you, though?
Yes, man, you know that. If it wasn't going to happen, I'll tell you.
How is the country running?
Well, I prefer to hold that in a person. Give me a more little thing that to put chicken. As a soldier, as a soldier, you can't be using deliberate tactics. You just got to watch it and see how the world goes.
Oh, you want 100 more days?
I want some more days. Soldiers don't run into things. We don't run into things where we snap, you know.
Have you been sought out for advice, security advice?
Huh?
Have you been sought out for any security advice? You're a soldier for almost about 50 years?
Well, you know, that's what I tell you. You can't do things snap.
Okay.
You can't do things snap.
Okay,
you have to watch how the thing goes.
Okay, my brother.
You understand? You got to plan your strategy.
Okay, my brother. Yes, you got your radio on there, but have yourself a good night, Major. Fall out.
Okay then. Okay. Okay.
Major Jones, thanks for your input. You know, it's someone mentioned something. The caller before, I think it's a caller before, or two callers before, I believe, mentioned. And I tend to follow what's happening. It's important we all follow what's happening. You know, we may not like some things. We may like some things. We may dislike other things. But you have an obligation as a citizen to speak your mind and absorb things. And I looked at the post-cabinet briefing for Monday, the 21st of November. And I asked myself several things. I wonder how long did the cabinet, what was the duration of the cabinet for that day? And the cabinet briefing for Monday, the 21st of November, reads as follows. The cabinet ministers met under the chairmanship of the Prime Minister, the Honorable Dr. Terence Drew, on Monday, the 21st November 2022, and made several key decisions to improve the welfare of our people. Listen to this. 1. The Cabinet of Ministers held discussions with the Development Bank of St. Kitts and Nevis on a loan program to provide financing for micro, small and medium-sized businesses to overcome temporary liquidity challenges and continue operating and restart operations. The St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party-led administration welcomes this loan program, which will serve to complement its continuing COVID-19 recovery and relief plans for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis and alleviate the financial difficulties of many micro, small and medium-sized business owners. And 2, the Cabinet approved the appointment of 3 new marriage officers, and they named them. And I asked myself, this is what the Cabinet went to deliberate on? This all? There's so many things need to be done. The cost of living just keep going higher and higher. Every time you go to the grocery, as someone said to me, you have to put back something. These are realities. The cost of gasoline, high. There's no water. As I speak to you, my water, I'm sure it's already gone off. No water in Budrock. No water in Frigate Bay. No water in St. Peter's. No water in Cairn. No water around St. Kitts. What on earth they're doing? Electricity. They talk about renewable energy and policy, new policy. Under the Douglas administration, we started the National Energy Policy, which was funded by the European Union. Team Unity came in because government is continuous and made some amendments to the policy. We even amended the St. Kitts Electricity Act of 2011 to include renewable energy. That legislation was amended. We included the feeder tariff and fees. I mean, there's so many things that was done and they can continue because government is continuous. Look at what they're doing. A $70 million or $80 million solar farm. The project is stopped. Why is stopped? Because Team Unity approved it. Yet they gone and buy purchasing 2 generators for $70 million. They're going to rent generators, and that project could have been so underway. And there are lots of things happening. We'll hear about this solar energy. I won't talk about it tonight. We'll hear much about that. But they're following some man who always is just chat stupidness all the time. A man called Dwyer Stefan. His tongue, as I said, is a weapon of mass deception. How can they listen to him? He doesn't remember. They talk about local investment. And yes, that's fine. But at one time they say something, and the next time they say something opposite. You just cannot trust them. But again, my Straight Dog family, this is what a captain said of the new cruise spear.
It is very nice. The new pier is very wide, and it is much better actually than the previous one. And it's a very nice construction. And for us, from the marine side of view, you have enough fenders, enough bollards, nice and safe, with much better angle against the wind also. So congratulations, this is amazing.
That's the commendation, that's the stamp of approval of a facility, which means a lot to the cruise industry. Yes, that new cruise pier, they said all sorts of things. They even said that it was spoiled. But remember the option, the alternative option that Dwyer's client presented would have cost of $40 million pier, would have cost the country $252 million. That's what it would have cost us. And it would have been leased for 30 years. 30 years. Imagine, Dwyer would have collected, if you guesstimate his percentage, millions of dollars in fees. Millions. And we asked him to release the content of his incentive agreement with his client, Bazarian. Let's take some of these emails, my Straight Dog family. I keep overlooking them. Forgive me. It's 20 minutes before the 10 o'clock hour. I'll take a few emails. Good night, Mr. Liburd. The Prime Minister is obsessed with Bastille High School at Pons. He must know the Public Works Department screwed up on the new Bastille High School project. Prime Minister Drew made good on Labour's promise to abandon the school project at Pons and all investments made there. What the PM needs to do is to ask the Attorney General to speak to clueless Gilbert, mischief-making Pemberton, and incompetent Permanent Secretary Lloyd as to why they refused to start the project. P.S. Lloyd is a family to former Minister Sean Richards, and everyone knows Sean Richards did his very best to see to it that the project never started. Why the Prime Minister don't focus on building a new modern school at Victoria Road for the children? By the way, the architect for the new Victoria Road school has been engaged, but with absolutely no procurement, no tendering whatsoever. Just remember, whatever is done, Lennox Warner says the project is his, and the budget is now $160,000, reads that email. Wow. Very interesting, and we will start looking at these issues as of our next program next week. We're going to look at water, we're going to look at the Bastille High School, and we are going to look at renewable energy in particular, because some things have come across my desk. And you wouldn't believe when I tell you. And you know I always come with the facts. And I'll bring you the facts next week, my Straight Talk family. But if you just joined me tonight, it's 19 before the 10 o'clock hour as we wind down tonight's programming. We looked at our topic tonight, as I normally call it. My thesis tonight was Prime Minister Drew is not the second living national hero. Now, we also looked at some observations in review and some very interesting observations we brought forward. And we also learned tonight, and I pass that information on to you, that election day in Nevis is nigh.
Consultation with the Honourable Prime Minister that the Nevis Island Assembly should be dissolved as of Friday the 25th day of November 2022. Nomination day for the election of representatives to the Nevis Island Assembly shall be Monday, December 5th, 2022. Election day on the island of Nevis shall be Monday, December 12th, 2022. Today, advise His Excellency the Governor-General, after consultation with the Honourable Prime Minister, that the Nevis Island Assembly should be dissolved as of Friday the 25th day of November 2022. Nomination day for the election of representatives to the Nevis Island Assembly shall be Monday, December 5th, 2022. Election day on the island of Nevis shall be Monday, December 12th, 2022.
A lot of focus today is on women. And we ask you to ask yourselves if Nevis is ready for its first woman premier. Patches reads this email. You see how this government don't care about the poor and needy in this country. Check this out. All those people who get honorarium and double salaries and such are people who were working and had jobs during the pandemic and continue to be working. My question is, what about all those poor people who had lost their jobs during the pandemic and up to today hadn't even got a job and are finding it hard to buy food to eat? Nothing for them. Last week in their press conference, Mr. Jeffrey Hanley said that this week they are going to start the re-registration of the PAP program and going to make a public address to the nation to outline the procedure, how to go about it, whether online or what. But the week is almost finished and not a word of anything. This government must stop trying to fool people. They just don't care about poor people. If they did, this PAP program would have been the first thing to get done. Shame on this government for the way they are treating poor people in this country, reads that email. Yes, this government is a government that just seemed to promise they're going to do this and they're going to do that, but they do absolutely nothing. Let's go back to the lines. Caller? Yes, caller, you're live.
Patches, good night.
How is Mr. Jamdown? Good night, my brother.
I'm fine, my buddy. Oh, it was a joy watching that mega cool ship by Patches Spear. Look how people damage Patches Spear, and look at the pier holding on to that big ship. Holding it, it can't run away. A pier well built. Thank you, Captain. Thank you, Captain. Again, tonight we want to focus on what's going on around here in Port Zante. Because, you know, in this global COVID time, Patches, it's terrible. And I have seen something yesterday. And it bothered me tremendously, you know, because when the former chairman of the board was there, and you had Mr. The guy there at Monkey Hill there, Kepi. These guys is experienced and they was understanding day-to-day runnings at the port. But now when we got down there is, and governments got to understand when they putting people to head these institutions, that they must put a bit of experience behind them. Get some politicians, get some pick up people and put them in these kind of positions. And when the institution will suffer. Now I see something yesterday down there, Patches, and it bothered me tremendously. And I had to talk. Because just 3 pallets to put into a warehouse. Now, the people them who pay you the fee a lot of money. They're under some strain right now from these building owners. Because these building owners got to beat bank. And these people struggling for finance. And to see security tapping 3 pallets to go into a storeroom so that them people could get the product on the shelf to serve the public, that the people could get 101 for Christmas. It helped me tremendously because you know it used to be so. Because if Kathy was down there, what happened yesterday couldn't happen. This is not a pallet loading up a lot of cargo while the cruise ship in. This is just 3 pallets and a truck just to go in a warehouse. And the commercial couldn't take it off the talk. And you know me like that? Because that's straight up with the truth. No, Patrick, I personally feel that I will have put back Mr. Edgar down there and ask Kathy to be a part of the board. Because you can't put these young people down there and understand what's going on and the institution will blow up. No, but then, when you was the minister in charge of the port, you realize where you go to get some big fish, pay the port money, all because they're the shortfall like dirty our politicians. They don't got the name, but they know who they're hearing. By your contribution in this country, what I said, we see none of these politicians ready to stand up. Thank you, Patrick, very much. I am not going to call you name any day because you sold this country well. And I want to shout out Dr. Harris because he got to come to that parliament whenever that budget address is and put the ball between wicket and wicket. Patrick, have a good night. Clear up the man, go on and go. We won in this game. And I want to shout out radical culture. Keep playing between wicket and wicket. Do not let the ball catch you between the wicket and wicket. Otherwise, you're going to let before. Have a good night, brothers.
Have a good night. You sound like a good cricketer, man. Thanks a lot. That's Jam Down. Always passionate with his interventions, you know. Really speaks from the heart, you know. Real patriot, you know, and really does well himself, my brother. As we wind down tonight's programming, I'll take a few more calls. Some of you may have just joined me. We looked at several issues tonight in terms of our observations in review. And we continue our observations in review because we want to keep them honest. We want to keep them honest. And there's some people we have to call out as well because as this lady said to me sometime early in this week, that whenever she said she doesn't listen to Dwyer, this is exactly what she said. She doesn't listen to Dwyer because if you listen to him, and these are her words, you will feel like he's sitting next to God when he's talking. And yes, he comes across like a paragon of virtue. But his tongue is like a weapon of mass deception. And today when at about 0700 hours, that's about 7 o'clock this morning, I looked out my window and I saw this large ship, extra large ship, coming into our harbor, coming into the port. And then I saw 2 other ships as well. And I had to say that the second cruise pier continues to be in high demand. And when I saw the wonder of the seas go along that pier, I saw it from a distance. I did not even get a close-up up to now. I saw it from a distance. And I knew it could accommodate all those ships. And one day, hear this, one day, we will see 3 of the largest and perhaps 4. It's hardly likely, but they don't normally be in the same region at the same time. But we'll see this port accommodate 3 large ships simultaneously. One day, that will happen in this country, and you will say, I told you so. At 7:10, you're live.
Pages, good evening.
Good evening, my dear.
You know the meaning of labor? The meaning of labor means L is for lies, A is for the agony, B for brutality, O for the oppression, U for unclean, and R is for revenge. Labor does not like poor people, Patches. You understand?
Say that. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'm really sorry. Say that much slower for me so everybody can understand it. That makes sense.
Okay. You mean the labor?
Yes.
L is for lies. A is for agony. B for brutality. O for oppression. U is for your revenge, unclean, and R is for revenge. You get that?
Got you.
U for unclean and R is for revenge. Labor do not like poor people, Patches. Never like poor people. The POP program, Timothy Harris must be grieving. He was supposed to pay a payback from 2007 to 2012. Where is the money? Where is the money, Patches? Patches.
Yes.
Dr. Joe better. He better. Because we're going downtown, you know. We're going downtown on March. This gun can't walk, get you with Douglas, but ain't gonna get you with Joe. We're going downtown on March. You hear? We can't take this no more, Patches. 100 days, 100 wasted days.
I didn't quite understand the 2007 to 2012 though.
The 2007, he said that he didn't pay like people from up the hospital who work like what word I must use? What word he use? Like people who never use it.
Frontline?
No.
Essential?
It's like non-established workers.
Okay.
The non-established workers who never get no money.
Yes.
You can even pay them from 2007 to 2012.
Who said that? Douglas?
No, you crazy?
Dr. Jew?
The best Prime Minister. Oh, Dr. Jew.
Okay, I got you now.
You crazy?
Okay.
The best Prime Minister.
Okay, Harris said
Timothy Harris. Yes, he done pay 2007. So where the money be? Everything was done there, and Joe said that he gonna pay. Joe said that $500 ain't enough. He gonna pay 1,500.
He said that.
What do you think these people stupid all the time? You think we stupid all the time? He said he gonna mend the program and he never rip. He said he gonna mend it. Or he can't find the needle and the thread. Anyway, Patches, I'm gonna come back. This is the first time I ever called in. I'm gonna come back again because me ain't fitting down no more. I'm not fitting down no more because Judah is doing a lot of stupidness. For big grown people and just going grinning like it's been dry juice. Yeah? Patches, have a good night, yeah?
Have a good night, my dear. And that's what Straight Talk is all about. It's the avenue to express yourselves freely. We just have one guideline, just to talk the truth. You know? And I'm happy you called for the first time, and I trust and hope it won't be your last time. And yes, we have to stand up. I have stood up for many years. And yes, we have to stand up. But sometimes we have to be prepared to stand alone. When you speak the truth, sometimes you have to be prepared to stand alone. I heard Dr. Joe as talking some stupidness about any workers, right, and people underpaid. But the Protection of Employment Act speaks to how people are paid, so I don't know what difference can be done, you know. I don't know why he don't take his time, read or get good advice before he utter some of the things he utter. Caller, you live. Hello, caller?
Good night, I dropped sleep.
Oh, my. Sounds like Alice in Wonderland.
It's very good. When you see the lady would just talk, she was so good and she was on the point. But it's what they do. And why Balin now? That was an election talk, what he was saying. So I want to ask a question, I don't know if it's true. I hear some Haitians come in to vote and they get pep job. I don't know. So why they come to vote and get pep job? The petition must get turned away. Timothy House and Roof. See you. Good night. Did you get now?
Good night, Zach. Thanks for your input. You just caught it. Perhaps I'll take my final call. I just have a couple, 1 minute or so. I'll entertain one more call. If that caller gets in now, if not, I'll say good night. But I want to end tonight then, since that caller didn't reach in. I want to end tonight on the second cruise pier, which continues to be in high demand and which accommodated the wonder of the seas. Today, the world's biggest cruise ship. Many captains bringing alongside these multi-million and sometimes billion-dollar ships alongside the second cruise pier. And we must understand, and we must be proud as Kititians that we have a facility like this to accommodate these ships. And it is a much lauded rendering of state-of-the-art facility. And one captain said this:
it is very nice. The new pier is very wide, and it is much better actually than the previous one. And it's a very nice construction. And for us, from the marine side of view, you have enough fenders, enough bollards, nice and safe, with much better angle against the wind also. So congratulations, this is amazing.
That's what the captains are saying. All of them are saying the same thing. And the wonder of the seas that docked today, it costs 1.2 billion euros or 1.35 billion US dollars, built in France. So that ship costs approximately $4 billion. It is an extra large ship which spans 1,188 feet in length and 210 feet wide. Roughly the length of 3 or 4 football fields. Imagine that. Use your imaginations. It is as wide as 4 to 5 tractor trailers, 40-foot trailers. And it is the same height as a 16-story building. Imagine that. So Kittians must be proud to have what I call this perennial fruit in our country. And that fruit, that pear, is ripe and it is sweet. You will see those ships coming the next couple of months. And when I saw the wonder of the seas going alongside tonight, or this morning, beg your pardon, I thought about Lindsey Graham. And I empathize with him. I really empathize with him that he was not there to welcome and to hand that plaque that Drew gave to the captain today. But it's his own fault, the fault of Lindsey Graham. I remember we were both on this promotional tour and we met the principals of the Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines, the port agents for Delil Walvin, Clayton Perkins. I haven't seen him for some time. He was there. Steve Heights of the Scenic Railway, he was there. Miss Brown from the Tourism Authority, she was there. And the booking, back then in 2017, I think it was, stand to be corrected, and we told them that the pier was going to be completed in 2018, and they booked that ship for 2022, which was under construction at the time. It came out the shipyard this year in 2022, and we were able to host it. But don't mind the detractors. Kittians must be proud of what we saw today, and we will see plenty more, my Straight Dog family. And as I wind down tonight as well, we are asking, I saw an invitation that Drew is having his party, and I do not believe what the invitation is saying about the venue. But if he believes he can go on hallowed ground, I understand his permission from the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force to host 300 people at the Connery playing field, and I trust it's at the Connery playing field. Because what this old Labour stalwart told me about him, but he got power. She told me he's biologically confused. She told me he is a man who seemed to have been caught with his power. But he paid a double salary on his birthday. And he asked us to buy him drinks. But he's politically confused because people are saying he's the best prime minister in a few months. Do you believe this, my Straight Dog family?
world famous Dr. Joe. The best PM. Give thanks, PM. Watch a man. The best PM, the bestest. The people's PM. The best PM. All right. That was the best PM there, boy. Trust me.
In 100 days, he's the best PM. But everyone is entitled to their opinion. But if what I'm hearing is correct, then this birthday party must be relocated to the Conwy playing field, as PM Joe is not the second living national hero. And he must provide full disclosure. He must guarantee us that not one single cent will be paid for his party or will come from the state treasury to pay for his party. Because you are not a king, Dr. Joe. You are our Prime Minister. That's my story for tonight, and I am not going to change it. I want to thank you, my Straight Talk family, for guiding, or thank Almighty God, I should say, God, for guiding our conversation tonight. And as always, I want to thank you, the many listeners. I want to thank you, the callers, the emailers, all of you all around the world, and inclusive here in St. Kitts, those who listen our sister station, Win FM. Remember, you are the ones who make Straight Talk, and for that reason, I say a big, big thank you. I am Ian Patches Liburd, and God's spare, we will connect on Monday for another edition of Straight Talk. Until then, have yourselves a wonderful weekend. Do your chores, be good to all whom you meet, and remember, whatever your mind conceive, that you will achieve. But first of all, you just got to believe. So when you wake in the morning, thank God for the morning light. Thank Him for taking you through the night. And my Straight Talk family, keep moving on. Bye-bye. Until we connect on Monday.
The morning, I thank God for the morning light. Give Him thanks and praises for taking me safely through the night. For the rest of food and loving care, and for my mother's breath of life that's got me here. So whatever my mind conceives, that I will achieve, you better believe. I do the things I should, be to my brethren kind and good, the best I could. So I'll keep moving on, I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on, till I reach the top somehow. Down on my knees, the Lord I kneel and pray, my heart and soul, beg Him to take me through each day, my guardian to keep and my guide, over every step I take, He will preside. So whatever my mind conceives, that I will achieve, you better believe, because I do the things I should, be to my brethren kind and good, the best I could. So I'll keep moving on. sincere, 'cause my knees I'll always stay to the Lord in prayer. So whatever my mind considers, I will achieve. You better believe, because I do the things I should. Be to my brethren kind and good, the best I could. So I'll keep moving on. I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on. I gotta reach the top somehow. I'll keep. I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on till I reach the top somehow. I'll keep moving on. I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on. I gotta reach the top somehow.